Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Meet the Character event and Happy New Year. I'll give everyone a bit of time to start coming in before I really get into the questions. But I'll be going hopefully until 7. We'll see how many questions there are. We'll get started with a little bit of background for me. I'm Julia, and I write the Gemstone Massacre series, as well as a couple of Kindle Vella stories. One which is Snow's Captive, and the other which is Poisoned by Love's Bite. I also write the Nymph's Revenge series. All right, we'll go ahead and get started for today. So let me see what questions we have. Okay, first one is for Dusk. Oh, hi, Trin. I'm good. How are you? Hi. Do you have any questions you want to ask the characters? Ooh, what's happening in the next 5 months? What? Congrats. So the next one that I have is Amy's childhood story. So it kind of gives a little bit of background about what happens after War of the Twin Swords, but before Amy's rebellion. And that one's in editing right now. Like I just got it from the editor and I started working on those changes. Nice. All right. I do have one from the form for Meet the Character event, which was about Dusk's character. They asked if Dusk has any siblings, if they're older or younger, and what is their relationship. So I'm going to answer as him. I have one older brother. He's a bit of a recluse, but was always very supportive. He was also trans, but going the other direction. And his particular gemstone is a his particular gemstone is a snake animal. Snake type animal. Trin, did you have any character questions you wanted to ask? You could ask anything about their siblings, their backstory, etc., etc. Yes, we will. It's actually going to be the next one, the next book in the series, which is already drafted but not edited yet. It's going to be from both Dusk and Amy's perspective. So it goes back and forth between the two. And then I'm hoping to have the one after that be entirely from Dusk's perspective. But the next one that's coming out is partially from Dusk's perspective. He kind of has his own sort of rebellion and adventure in that second book. What do you mean by many characters? Oh, siblings. So she has a few siblings. One who is no longer living, one who's two who still are. So there's Selenite, Chalcedony, and Garnet. And Garnet is like the older sister, the big sister, but she's also like kind of the least responsible of the bunch, but is forced into being responsible. Um so she's kind of always been kind of forced to be the caretaker for Amy. So they have kind of a rocky relationship. And then the middle children who were twins were Chalcedony and Selenite. And they were very close, like before one of them died. So, but Selenite and Chalcedony were like very, very similar personalities, but not the same. Like Chalcedony was the very Chalcedony was like the very serious type, but also not very studious. She was very into like puzzles and things like that. Whereas Selenite was very studious, but not very serious at all, and also kind of likes to party a lot. So her and Garnet used to get along very, very well. That's a good question. And believe it or not, I think I think pretty much everyone except for Iris has siblings because Iris doesn't have any siblings. But Luna has siblings. Well, a sibling. Um, Keto had a sibling, and who else? Those are like all the and Naru. Naru doesn't have a sibling actually. Yeah, Naru doesn't have a sibling, but her friend does. Um, all right. I have one question for Rose from Spellbound. If you could have one wish, what would it be? I think for Rose, that would be for Rose's biggest wish. She has a couple. If she's in a serious mood, she would probably say that her biggest wish is just for everyone to kind of get along better and for there not to be so many horrible things happening to the nymphs and the humans. Um, if she's in a not a serious mood or if she's hungry, she would probably say that she would just want unlimited food. Any other character questions? Ooh, yes, definitely sibling conflicts. One of them is a sibling who hasn't been revealed yet, because their existence hasn't come up yet, but it will. And I'm trying to think if there's any others. There is a really big sibling conflict in Snow's Captive. Two of them actually. But you don't get to know their siblings until around the plot twist. So there's two big sibling conflicts in Snow's Captive. There aren't very many siblings at all in Poison by Love's Bite. I didn't give any of them siblings, I don't think. they're all they're all only children. Apparently I make them where they all have siblings or are all only children. Very little in between. Oh, and there is a lot of sibling conflict in Amy's Rebellion. Especially there's some in the first book and you get to see a little bit more in the second and third books. There's also some like parent to child conflicts. Specifically a lot of mother-daughter conflicts. Um yeah, a lot of mother-daughter conflicts. Because there's one between Opal and her mom and War of the Twin Swords. And then in the second book of the Gemstone Massacre series, there's going to be one minor one between Amy and her mom, and one between Amy and one of her siblings. Yes. So there's going to be quite a bit between Naru and Amy, especially in the second book. And there's going to be a ton, of course, in Poison by Love's Bite because that's what it's supposed to be. It's going to be the steamy love triangle. That one is on Vela. There is a little bit of tension in Snow's Captive, but it's not like the main focus. It's more of kind of a secondary thing. And it's going to probably be mostly overshadowed by like the overarching plot, which is very trying to bring down the vampire empire, essentially. But for if you're looking for like sexual tension and steamy, Poison by Love's Bite, and there is going to be a little bit in the second book of Amy's Rebellion, which I'm hoping to have out this coming year. Because I know I have at least two scenes in the second Gemstone Massacre book. And so far, I have one scene with one of the main love interests, and that's very, very explicit, and then one that's more implicit with the other love interest. Oh, and then there's also going to be a new story that's going to be a fairy tale one. And I haven't decided if I want to have any steamy scenes in it, but it's going to be another fairy tale retelling. Um with kind of an Excalibur Arthurian quest vibe to it. Essentially, they're trying to gather all of the magic items that Belle created and use them to defeat the villain before the villain kills them all and steals all their powers. Ooh, nice. I do have the Amy's childhood story coming out soon, but I don't have a ton of stuff from this year. I was more on the writing front and not a lot on the editing and publishing front, so I'm hoping to do more of that this year. But the only ones I could think of you might not have checked out yet would probably be the Vela stories, so Poison by Love's Bite and Snow's Captive. So if you want like a steamy paranormal romance, like you'll probably want to check out the Poison by Love's Bite. I don't have a ton of episodes for it yet, but I've got 20 of them written, and I think 16 or 17 of them are published. And I'm hoping it'll end up coming out to about like 30 to 35 episodes in total. At least for the first arc, the first like book. Yeah, I really like Arthurian retellings. I have a lot of elements of like Arthurian retellings for all of them. Like a lot of almost all of them. Either there's Arthurian or fairy tale or both in almost everything. But for the particular fairy tale one that I'm working on, that I worked on for NaNoWriMo, it's going to have a lot of cursed objects rather than like blessed objects like you see in like the Arthurian tales. Like they're still there, but the focus is actually cursed objects because one of the main characters, Belle, um, is actually her ability is to uncurse cursed objects. So she can modify and remove curses from cursed objects. That's her primary ability. So she is one of like the main characters for that story. And Mulan is there too. Mulan is a trans man in this particular retelling. And he has a he is still in a relationship with Shang. Shang is the character. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep that name for him or give him a different name because I don't want it to be too close to like Disney. But yeah, I think there's going to be quite a few like Arthurian items in there as well as cursed objects. I'm trying to think. One of them is I think it's called the League boots. Like they're essentially stowed at the bottom of the ocean. And they have I'm blanking on what the ability was for that one, but there's the League boots, there's a cursed spell book that helps you talk to animals. And then there was something akin to like the Midas touch sort of cursed object. And of course Excalibur is there because I almost always have Excalibur in there somewhere. And there's a mirror as well, a cursed mirror, and a few other things. I'm excited to start posting episodes of that. I got to edit at least 5 to 10 before I want to start posting for it though. Any other questions for me or about the characters? Ooh, I have quite a few. I'd have to count to get an exact number. But right now there's the 2 Kindle Vella stories that have already started. Which Snow's Captive's almost done now. That one's getting very, very close to being done. It's probably going to be kind of a cliffhanger-y type ending. So there might end up being a second book. We'll see. I'm trying to wrap it up in one book. We're going to see what happens with that with Snow's Captive. So I have that one. I have Poison by Love's Bite, which is probably just going to be 1 or 2 books. Right now, I have like a couple episodes drafted, but the whole thing's not drafted. I have the second book in the Gemstone Massacre series, which is the one that's going to be a dual POV with Amy and Dusk. That one is fully drafted. It just needs to be edited, so that's 3. The fairy tale story, which I've only got a few episodes of. I was hoping to get more done during NaNoWriMo, but I've only got maybe like 6 or 7 episodes and about maybe 10,000 words. And then I have. What else do I have? I've been sitting on this one. I have the third and final book in the Nymph's Revenge series. I say final book, but there will probably end up being a spin-off with some of the other characters that you don't get to see a lot of in the first 2 books, especially Ivy. And then so that's how many? 5? Are we at 5? Fairy Tale, Poison by Love's Bite, Snow's Captive, second Amy's Rebellion book, the novella for the Gemstone Massacre series, and then the third book in the Nymph's Revenge series. So about 6 in total. About 6 in total. That is how many are drafted or somewhere in the like progress of creation. Those are like the big ones. Aw, thank you. Yeah. The one that I think I'm most excited to write about and really edit is the Gemstone Massacre books, with like my second favorite one to work on probably being the Snow's Captive story. All right, I've got one more question. Let's see. This is for Hunter from Snow's Captive. What is your favorite childhood memory? Hunter's favorite childhood memory would probably be the very first holiday she spent with her sister, where her sister and her didn't get into an argument. She was very excited because her sister had gotten her this electric scooter that she had wanted for a really long time. And she was incredibly happy until she managed to injure herself using said scooter. And then her sister helped her fix her injury. So the Amy's childhood story will definitely be available this year, and I'm hoping to also release the second Gemstone Massacre book. But it's going to that one will probably depend on a couple of factors, but I'm hoping to have the second Gemstone Massacre book available too. And that one will probably be available sometime either this month or early next month, but hopefully this month. I am also hoping to write a Christmas story that was supposed to be released in Christmas, but will probably end up being released sometime in January, February. It's a little fluffy Christmas story with Rose and Gabriel. So it's not super actiony, it's more like cutesy Christmas romance type deal with those two. So those are the big projects for this year. And then, of course, I'm hoping to continue posting episodes for Snow's Captive and Poisoned by Love's Bite this year. Once they're fully done, I do plan on getting a professional cover made for both of them and then publishing those in a physical format as well. But that may or may not be done this year. That might be a next year thing. We'll see. Yeah. Oddly enough, 2022 was like the one year so far where I hadn't released anything. So I'm hoping to make up for that this year. I released episodes of things, but no physical books. Ah, thank you. Yeah, no new books yet this year, but there are a couple new episodes that I posted this year for both Snow's Captive and Poisoned by Love's Bite. I think the last episode I posted, let me check when it was. I posted one recently for Snow's Captive, right around the time that NaNoWriMo ended. But I haven't been keeping up with it very well. I have maybe 4 or 5 more episodes drafted for Snow's Captive, so I'm hoping to post those soon, and the same goes for Poisoned by Love's Bite. I really want to write a couple more like steamy scenes with the other love interest because I feel like one of the two love interests has been getting too much attention, and I need to make it more even. Because they're both good love interests. They both deserve attention. I'm trying to see how many I posted this year for episodes. Here we go, Kindlevella, because it'll tell you like when you posted episodes last. So now I'm like curious when was the last time I posted an episode for either of these stories. So in 2022, I posted how many episodes? Let's see. I posted like almost exclusively in 2022 for Poisoned by Love's Bite. So I've posted in 2022, I posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 episodes. And I have another 3 or 4 drafted for that one. And then what about the other one? What about Snow's Captive? And then for Snow's Captive, I don't think I posted nearly as many because I was focused on that one. But let's see. So 2022, I posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 episodes for Snow's Captive this year. Or last year, because now it's 2023. And the last episode I posted was December 16th. and it was episode 28. So we're getting there with that one. Yeah, I think if the pacing continues the way I want it to for Snow's Captive, I think it'll get maybe another 10 to 15 episodes at most. Hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't get too out of hand. Sometimes the characters just go, we're going this way. And that has definitely happened at least a couple of times with this particular story. What can I say? Hunter and Grimheld do not like to follow the plan. They like to do whatever the flip they want. I will say this story has quite a few plot twists, some which have already been revealed and some which are yet to be revealed. But they're going to come up very soon, like within the next. There's going to be a plot twist coming up for Snow's Captive within the next 2 to 3 episodes. And I think some people are going to predict it and some people are not. But either way, it will be exciting. Any other questions? Okay, we have another question for this time for Grimheld. How many exes do you have? You don't ask that. No, okay. So she doesn't really have very many because she hasn't really dated a ton. She has maybe like one from when she was really young, and then one from her teenage years, and that's about it. And one of them was a guy, and one of them was a girl. And the girl that she was with was like a high school sweetheart gone wrong situation. And the guy she's still friends with. Let's see, any other questions? Okay, we have the same question for Rose, but for Gabriel. If you could have one wish, what would it be? So for Gabriel, he would most likely wish to just honestly have a normal life. He's done with the adventures and kind of just wants to live a normal life with probably with Rose. All right, I think those are all the questions I've got, so I'll give it a few more minutes in case anyone wants to come in and ask questions. And if not, we'll end the stream a bit early today. All right, I see one last question, so we'll go ahead and wrap up with that question and then we'll end for here for now. Last question was Ooh, this one is for Snow from Snow's Captive. What made you become a villain? Snow says, it's not that I became a villain by choice, it's that I was forced to become one. All right, that's all I've got for now. I'm going to end the stream, so bye for now.